from my heart and from my hand. Why don't people understand my intention?
Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. So if you remember, around about 6 weeks ago, we purchased this Mini for €1,000. We were undecided at the time what to do with it, whether it was going to be a restoration or a parts car. Well, we've arrived at a conclusion now. But before I share that with you, I want to show you the process of repairing a rim, because this car actually came with a nice set of RFX Revolution wheels that the previous owners already had them sandblasted. But you can see along this edge here, hopefully you can see that, they've been quite badly curbed. So before we get these wheels finished, we need to do a wheel repair or a rim repair on these. And then we'll talk about what we want to do with the rest of the car. So preparation is always important for these things when you're doing powder coat. So the first thing we've got to do is we have to clean up some of these edges to get a nice profile on the inside and also on the outside where it's been curbed. And I'm going to use the Dremel just to give me a flat surface to work with there before we start building up the upper surface here. Okay, so we've taken off the inside of the rim and the outside where the burrs were when it was curbed. Feels a little bit smoother now. I've also flattened down the surface a little bit on top to start leveling it out so we can build up the layers. Just going to spray on this Amorite etching solution just to clean it up a little bit further, and then we should have a nice surface. Should have a nice surface to work with. And then we are going to try some of this metal putty. So I'm just going to take a small amount of this because we don't need too much for mixing before we put the hardener in. It says that you only require a small amount of hardener, maybe 2.5%. So I'm going to do a build-up layer first before we actually do a finishing layer. So let's see how this goes. Now it's going to take several coats to be able to do this, and then you sand it down after. So we've put the first layer on now. Don't worry about it being too smooth. Let me just see if I can zoom in on this. You see, starting to build up with the first layer, and then we'll do some sanding before we apply the second coat. So it's about 30 minutes later now, and I don't know if you can hear this, but the metal putty is already hard. So before I put the second layer on, I'm just going to take some of the rough spots out with some wet and dry paper, just to get a slightly better profile for the second layer. You can already see that it's starting to look much better. So what I'm doing now is, before I put a second layer on, to get a pronounced edge, I'm just putting some tape around the area I'm working in, so that I've got something to work against to build up the material. Obviously I don't want a sharp edge because this profile is a slightly rounded corner, but this is the best way I've found to try and get the material in the right place for sanding later. You just need a small lip over the top. That tends to work. So good, now we will crack on with the second layer. Okay, so it's been an hour now since the second coat, so I'm going to take off the tape, and you can see the sharp edge now, so I can start to work that into a flatter profile. Okay guys, let me show you this now. I've finished sanding, so you can see curbing removed. So nice and smooth again. Got a couple of bits and pieces on the other wheels to do in the corners around the valves and some other areas, but yeah, we're almost ready to get these to the powder coaters. Okay guys, that's the last wheel done, so we need to get these off to the powder coaters, and then we need to talk about what we're going to do with this. So after some careful consideration, we've decided that we will rescue this one and restore it. Now, because the car has no originality left on it already from the previous owner, it's kind of a open book, this one. So we debated for a couple of weeks whether we'd go down the same path as we did with the grey Mini, which is more of a luxury Mini, or whether we'd go down the path of our 998, which is more towards the kind of Monte Carlo rally style. Now, in my mind, when it comes to racing, there are two Minis that are very iconic, and one is the Monte Carlo and the other one is the Britax Cooper. So we've decided that we will actually build a lightweight Britax Cooper replica. So this project is probably going to unfold in between the electric Mini project that has already started. So watch out for this one over the coming months as we start to pull this one apart as well. By the way, the wheel repairs that we did, those wheels are not for this project. I think we're going to put those on the 998 because that's a mid-80s car. I think the white retro rally wheels will look kind of fun on that one. So anyway, so that's it for this update. Thank you so much for tuning in. All your comments, likes are always appreciated. For the moment, stay safe and we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.